Coach Bucky, do you think the Bama game reinforced anything about your team's identity, even with that not going the way you wanted it to go?
Yeah, excuse me, anybody's game. We played 5 on the road, won 3 of the 5 in the first round, lost in overtime, and then lost by a single possession. So confirms that obviously we got some good stuff going when you can play on the road in this league and find ways to be right there to win. I thought Alabama played as good as they played all year long, honestly, particularly on offense. And it's a hard place to win there. You know, if you go back and look at the number of games they've lost in there through the years, there's not many. And obviously we were there under 90 seconds twice with the lead, you know. So at the end of the day, they had one of their really good players make a big 3, and then one of their really good players make a circle shot, you know. So, I mean, hey, like we said, we do what we do. If it didn't work out, dab them up. Good job, guys. See you down the road.
Bucky, so much emphasis in basketball is always put on height and things like that. Is that an overvalued commodity? I mean, when I say a team like yours, it's not trotting out a bunch of 7-footers that is successful as they are.
Well, I would love to say that it's not it's overvalued, but then you see these monsters from tomorrow. I'll reserve comments after the game tomorrow because they look like Shreks out there, how big they are. You know, I would say this: you really want to, when you recruit, you really want skill and size and athleticism. If you couldn't get skill and size, I'd take skill any day of the week. Right? You can make up for size by being detailed in what you do and playing as hard as you can play at all times. That's how you can make up for size. If you got a 7-footer that never blocks out, or blocked out 50% of the time, and you got a 6'6" guy who blocked out every time, and you got a 7-footer that goes after rebounds half the time, and you got a 6'6" guy that goes after him every time, I'll take the 6'6" guy every time. And so to your point, you know, sometimes you don't have size, skill, athleticism. You don't have it all. I mean, Michael Jordan isn't the best player of all time because he's the tallest player, right? I mean, when I met Michael Jordan, I literally was shocked that sitting there next to him talking to him. I was like, this is the greatest basketball player of all time. You know, like 2 inches taller than me. Think about that. So, you know, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Great answer, by the way. And I wanted to ask you about just buckyball in general and going fast. Is it designed to go fast all the time? Or is there any time when you think it's best to just slow down?
Well, I would just say that anything you look at on offense, or on offense particularly, the faster you can play to keep teams on the run, the more efficient you're going to be. That's what every analytical measure will tell you. That if you can keep teams on the run against a non-set defense, our point per possession and transition are like one of the highest in the country. Us and Alabama are both up there in a lot of ways. Our transition scored higher than Alabama's in the last game by a little bit. So, you know, you obviously on a dead ball, you know, you can't just go, it makes no sense to go run it down the throat when the ball's dead. It's a dead ball, you got to throw it in, right? So then you got to execute. But if it was up to me or people that really value offense, understand it, you want to try to go fast as much as you possibly can.
Coach Golden and Florida present a different challenge stylistically. What has been the emphasis in preparation this week?
Well, we took off yesterday, watched a little bit of tape. We watched our game, some of our game here this morning, and then we just got to Florida there right before it and a little bit after. Like, a lot's going to be on us. They're one of the best rebounding. They're literally the best rebounding team up to this point in the history of college basketball. That's saying a lot. So, like, obviously not let them play, you know, ping pong with it off the glass would help. They scored at the rim at a high level. They scored it was like 72 or 76 points on Alabama literally at the rim. They're big. They rebound well. I'm not so sure they're not just equally as good as last year at the same time. They could win a national championship. Well coached, physical. They have returners who won a national championship. So, very good team. Very good on defense too. I mean, they're just got a lot of good things going for them. But other than that, they're not very good.
To your point about their rebounding abilities, just especially with the two bigs, what has made them so effective? As you've gotten a chance to maybe study them?
They're just big and strong, you know. I mean, they start at the 3, 4, and 5. They're big. Most teams will start, you know, sometimes at the 5, sometimes at the 5 and the 4. They're 3, 4, and 5. They're really big. They're skilled. Their bigs are, well, one of the bigs isn't as skilled as the 4 and the 5, but he's great skill for what he likes to do. But, you know, they have size and they have skill, and they're smart. They can pass. And they have some continuity together, you know. So, you know, what they got.
What kind of extra boost could Jamie provide y'all with this kind of matchup if he kind of can get on the heater like he did against Alabama?
Yeah, he played great, and he played really good in the Texas game. You know, I think Jamie plays his best when he tried. I told Jamie for the last game, like, Jamie, your job is that when you walk out of the game, I want the other team to say, God, thank God he's not in the game anymore. And it's not because you scored a lot of points. That's going to happen naturally. It's because you're so physical, legally physical, that you're just constantly just grinding up against them. And when he has that mindset that, like, he loves contact, you know, he plays really well. And so he's going to have to do that in this game for sure.
You talk about just how you guys always focus on yourself, but when you play a team like this who's kind of different in a lot of ways, does that adjust how you attack like a team like this, or do you kind of just stay within what you're trying to do here?
You know, we have different ways we can play offense and defense. I think one of the things that's helped us, even when we were at Sanford, was our adaptability, particularly on defense. You know, we're able to do different things, play teams different ways. I mean, you talk about two different games, Alabama versus Florida, and just so different in a lot of ways. So we got to continue to be adaptable going into the game and then throughout the game. Offensively, like, I mean, I feel good versus, you know, however they want to guard the ball screen, however they want to guard off the ball action, whether they want to ice it, top lock us on our pins, not top lock us, switch us, you know, like, I like our switch attack. I like, you know, if they want to hard hedge us, you know, if they want to late veer us. Like, I think we're to the point where we have an answer schematically for anything someone throws at us. You know, I'm not saying that means we're scoring every time, but I'm comfortable going into it because we have adaptability.
So Travis, go ahead, Carter.
Oh, I was going to just ask, have you seen teams guard Ruben differently recently, and how do you guys kind of get him going a little bit better? Yeah,
good question. I mean, we can get him some more shots, but the other side of that is sometimes, a lot of times, we're just shooting these uncontested layups, or Rashawn's rolling and we're hitting him with a pocket pass and he's scoring, or they're in super drop coverage and they're not going to help off the shooters. That's the reason why we're shooting some of these uncontested layups, just because we have the space out there, right? And spacing is offense. And so sometimes just a shooter on the floor, that if he's way out here wide in the Houston slot and he's wide and you got two guys in the corners that are hugged up on everybody, then pick and roll offense is easy. So they don't get an assist for that, but they might as well get an assist, right? I'm not saying that, hey, that's not a good way to guard it. Then if they want to play in there tight, then you're dealing with other actions that can get them shots. So just because he may not score, it doesn't mean he's not impacting the game of offense just as much as if he scores 20.
To Travis's question earlier about Jamie, just what's maybe the key to where, you know, he has a good 4 or 5 minute stretch in the first half? How do you maybe get him to prolong that throughout a game and have, you know, kind of multiple spurts where he's effective? Yeah, I mean, I think you know, some of it's just limited playing time because he's playing a lot behind Rashawn. You know what I'm saying? So I just think he's got to make the most of the minutes he has, right? And I think the best way to make the most of those minutes is to not focus on scoring. That's going to happen. Not focus on even rebounding, not focus on even playing defense, focus on making it miserable for the person that I'm matched up across from. When he has that mindset that when the ball's shot, it's him versus me, I got offense rebound, I don't even worry about offense rebound, I'm worried about that this guy is so miserable that I'm going to be so physical with so much effort that he wants me out of the game. Don't even worry about you going and rebounding on defense. I'm going to block this guy out so hard legally that he says, thank God he's out of the game. And when he does that, you want to look like Tarzan and play like Tarzan, right? Not look like Tarzan and play like Jane. And so when he looks like Tarzan and plays like Tarzan, he's going to be pretty good.
You know, So obviously you always talk about how each game, SEC it's just another game, but you get the defending national champions at the blackout in the arena. How do you kind of just approach the teams like, maybe they get up a little bit more. Do you embrace something like that, or you try to keep them kind of grounded and say, hey, it is just another basketball game?
Really, I just figured, like, hey, let's get in the right jerseys and there's no way we'll lose. We just cancel practice. Like, we're doing a blackout, that's it. They're going to be scared to death walking up in here anyways. We ain't going to worry about nothing. No, I think at the end of the day, like, it's great, do something like that. Fans get around it. But, if you get too high, I've never seen, in my experiences, it just seems to me, if I watch an ultimate fight or a boxing match, the guy that's coming into the ring that's just over the top, emotion, usually is getting knocked out pretty soon. Or they're going to be okay in the first round, they got nothing left the rest of the game. I think the teams that are scary and the fighters that are scary are the ones that come in there just with that glassy look, like, that's the guy you don't fight, right? And so you want your team to not be too high, too low, off that killer intensity instead of the emotions up and down, because that usually doesn't sustain.
Can basketball work for extended periods of time with two bigs on the court, or is that too reactionary for a team that might have some size?
Well, you just gotta have some speed. It depending who you play. Like, meaning, we struggled early in the year trying to figure it out when we were playing with Sean at the foursome a lot and the JV out there. You could survive offensively for sure, but just defensively, could you match Alabama's 4 perimeter players that have NBA players on the floor that's massive skill, putting you in the blender out there and trying to guard those guys? That's a problem if you don't have speed. It's not a size issue. It's just how much speed do you have out there to cover the perimeter.
Going up against a team like Florida that maybe doesn't have as much depth as someone like A&M, is that something that plays a role in the preparation there, trying to get them to have to use that depth?
I think fatigue plays a factor in every game. Sometimes you can see how it impacts it more than others. Sometimes it's glaring. Sometimes it's not as glaring to the eye. But when you really peel back the tape, you realize that it was a factor. If you're playing as hard as you can, with waves of guys coming in there, and fatigue should be a factor for both teams. I mean, that's just the nature of it. But I trust that we got 10, 11 guys that can all roll.
What boost does it give you guys having Marcus be kind of 100% now? He said, Georgia game is kind of the first time he felt back to himself.
Yeah, Marcus, he's got so much energy. He can rack it. He's tough. He loves to play the game. No moment's too big for him. And, Marcus can shoot it. That's the thing. Same with Marcus and Rashawn. These teams that want to play off and just let them shoot it, thank you. They can make shots. And so, so some of these guys that haven't made shots, that just means, I know where they're going to finish the season. You don't have a guy that's like a 35% true three-point shooter shooting 12%. I know where he's going. The progression to the norm, there we go. We're heading that way. So he's playing good, and this is a good time for him to be playing good.
Anything else for Coach? I got one more. A&M has come out of the blackout game victorious in the past, mostly because of the environment. That being said, any last message to the 12th man for showing up and showing out tomorrow for the game?
So they came out for the blackout game and won mainly because of the blackout?
Mainly because of the environment.
It got nothing to do with their defense or their offense? Yeah, I'm joking with you. First off, the 12 man has such an impact on what we got going on. We know that. We got to have everybody rolling for this game. You know what I'm saying? We got to have everybody together for this game. This is the national championship team, as good as they were last year. Florida didn't come here last year. So, arguably, is this one of the best teams that's coming here, if not the best teams coming here in the past couple of years, in my opinion. Right? Because I think they're where they are last year. They started off slow. We did too. So, they really improved, and they're playing their best basketball right now. So, to the fan base, there's nothing more fun than that when you get to come in here and, I mentioned this in the media there at Alabama. halfway through league play, we get to play, both teams in first place get to play each other at home. We were picked 13th in the league. Some people picked us 15th, right? So isn't that great? We're going to come in here, all of us together, and we're right here fighting, you know, for top spots in the league. As an underdog mentality, I can't think of anything more fun than that. And when that place is loud, that place is nuts, man, it's something special. And we got to have, there'll be big runs in this game through the good, through the bad. Got to keep rolling. And what was the total record in blackout?
Not sure.
4-0.
4-0?
Yeah.
All right. We know what it is. We know what it is. We got to get everybody here. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.